Okay, I swear one of these days I'm going to figure this shit out. Until then, I guess this is just what we'll have to deal with. Hey, what's going on? This is Mike D, and I'm here with the Sleeping Yogi podcast. And today I have a really awesome guest. It's Dr. Garrett Hewstan, and he hails from San Francisco, trained in chiropractic medicine. But we're not talking about chiropractic medicine. We're talking about nonviolent communication. So without further ado, here it is, Dr. Garrett Hewstan.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. This is The Sleeping Yogi, and I am Mike Diaz. And I got with me today a very special guest. He has studied he is a chiropractor, and practices reorganizational healing based on the knowledge and teachings of the Triad of Change. He's also a nonviolent communications coach. Let me introduce to you Dr. Garrett Hewstan. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Not bad, man. I mean, it's a beautiful day outside. It's a beautiful day on Earth, I believe. It's an incredible time to be alive. Yeah, how about you?
I agree. It's an incredible time to be alive, mostly because I've started thinking that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. It's true. It's true.
I've entertained thoughts of like, man, this is not the time to be alive. I wish I was, 100 years ago and just had a horse and a farm. But it's been it's kind of like one of the reasons why, they kind of say, I've heard, practice what you most need to learn. And for me, there's been such a journey with my perception, from like just a lot of kind of Marshall Rosenberg has developed, rest in peace, he died a few years ago. He developed nonviolent communication and its practice all around the world. You can find different practice groups and different people who facilitate individually or for companies or all that and all that kind of stuff in the corporate world. But the reason it's meant so much to me is because I've always struggled with perception, and he would say, or I've heard him say, it's just how you were educated to think. We were educated to think in certain ways, so when that gets tweaked in any way, it's almost like you're losing your footing. You're just like, wait a minute, why do certain thoughts feel good and certain thoughts feel bad? And so when you said it's a great time to be alive, that's one perception. A lot of people right now, and this is why I do what I do, think it's a pretty horrible time to be alive. And they're really struggling personally, professionally, and in every other way you could think of. And so, it's a practice of mine to be like, you know what? It is a great time to be alive because this is my choice. This is my, I don't think there's an option of like, I mean, there is an option I could not be alive, but it's like, I just wanted to get out. I got off on a tangent there, but it was because I think sometimes when people hear that, it could be, some people could, I was one of them. It's like, oh, well, here we go. It's great to be alive. I'm supposed to think positively all the time. And it's like, well, there's no such, in my view, there's no such thing as positive thinking. There's just, is your thinking getting you what you want? And if it's not, that's where nonviolent communication and other tools come in, where you can start doing a check and balance with yourself.
Right, because it's really all about just being present and in the moment, and then from your presence and your physical energy, your harmonizing or vibrational energy, you want to keep that as high as possible and and as beautiful as possible. And like you had just said, most people were just educated to think and resonate and vibrate at a lower level. And so it's really profound when you have tools or teachers or people out there that bring forward knowledge and wisdom, which helps people break away or break out of that it's kind of a prison. It's a prison. It's a box. It's a mindset, and that mindset is what keeps you in a prison and keeps you kind of in those low vibrations or low frequencies. It's really profound, and it's also infectious too. And I feel like a lot of sometimes the work that we all can do could be to reach into other people's consciousness and help raise them up and break them out of whatever it is that they're stuck in, that anyone could be stuck in. Because I believe, too, I was in the same place where I had a focused mindset or a way in which I felt I needed to think something in order for it to be achieved. And we kind of just briefly touched on that, which was the triad of change, being a tool that you can use in order to, break out of some of the mindsets that you have. You want to talk more in depth, or maybe even just briefly about what the triad of change is?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll preface my little triad intro by saying, absolutely, I hear you that it's like we've had teachers our whole lives, right? It's like, and some teachers spoke to us and some teachers didn't, right? And a lot of times something Marshall Rosenberg has said is, it takes a good education to make people nice and stupid. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually an education that we got, right? So he says punishment is the root of all violence on the planet. And we do that with children. We use it's the flip side of both it's the flip side of the same coin, punishment and reward. If you do this, you get a popsicle. If you don't do it, you have to stand in the corner. There's this way that we don't quite get the shame that kind of gets hardwired into our nervous system with that kind of worldview. So, and teachers come and, it's like somebody might say, oh, I tried yoga and I hated it. It might be like, well, you might just not have resonated with the teacher. I've gone to yoga classes where I couldn't have rolled my mat up quicker to get the hell out of there. And then I've gone to other yoga classes where I'm just like, I literally want to follow this person every day. Like whatever gym they teach at, whatever they do, I want to go to every class they ever teach, right? There's something about that person. But somebody else might say, I didn't like that person. So it's always based on what's true for that person. And so that's kind of my intro for the triad to Donnie Epstein is a chiropractor. And, a lot of people are like, they either love the cracking or they don't love the cracking. I'm one of those people who don't love the cracking. Like, I've had it, it's felt good. At times I like the release of it, but overall I like the more gentle approach where it's more about helping me perceive my body so that I can make my own changes. So as far as chiropractic goes, the technique I do is called reorganizational healing. Some people know it as network spinal analysis, which is we only work with where the spine's open, and I'm not putting a structural force into the body because I want to teach the body. So rather than to go where the body's in defense, we go to where the body's at ease, and it's very gentle. We just touch an area and we hold it maybe for a minute, and then the brain starts going, why are you touching that area? And then it's like basically the experiencing your body, you start realizing that, oh, I'm open there. So then all that tension in your body starts moving towards the open spot, almost like you open a window and you throw out all the stuff you don't need anymore. So it's this real trippy technique where it's about, you start to see people's spines start self-correcting. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it's based on Donnie Epstein's work that he calls the triad of change. He's got a few different modalities, and the chiropractic one is one of them. And there's three sides to a triangle. One side is perception, the other side is behavior, and the other side is structure. So for people who like a lot of structure, they might want to be cracked, just structure, just move my structure. And some people are like, don't you dare do that creepy neck cracking thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that tells me is they're already very much in line with their perception. They don't like it. They know that they don't like it. And it's like, okay, since I might do a cervical adjustment every once in a while when somebody's already has a lot of ease in their body. I don't adjust into a defense. And so I'm trying to bring this back to the triad of change, where if somebody has like as he would say, like a gift, an abundance, they're very resourced in their perception, it takes almost nothing to create a change with that person. Mm-hmm. And then if somebody leads with like, they like to do things, that's behavior. So, you might have them put their hands on their body, and you might have them, it's more interactive with that person. And with somebody with structure, I might not put one of those big forces in, but I'm going to work with their structure in a way that feels satisfying to them.
Yeah.
So when I look at the triad of change, I'm like, wow, nonviolent communication is all about this. It's all about and getting back to what I was saying a minute ago, this education that we were all taught is to judge things, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't like what he said, right? I don't like Trump. I don't like Hillary, right? Maybe I shouldn't have dropped the T-bomb so quick. But, because it's like, now, I don't know if, hopefully a few people will be listening to this and it will help them in some way. But it's like, you just say that name and boom, it polarizes people, right?
Yeah.
Or some people might be like, I don't give a shit. I don't think about politics. But some people, it's like they go to their camps, right? Hillary's a maniac, Trump's a maniac, whatever it is. It's like now that's our educated mind. Our educated mind was taught, and it's based on our survival brain. It's based on, am I safe in this moment? And guess what, folks? We're safe. Like, you're safe.
Yeah.
Yes, some crazy laws might come into effect where it might really challenge your values or even your quality of life. But in this moment, there is no lion or tiger jumping at your throat. But at some point, there was a lion or a tiger going to jump at your throat, and that's why our brains got so developed for survival. You had to be right. It's like, if I go into that cave and there's a lion in there, me and my family are dead. So this whole physiological, neurological thing has also created this perception that if I'm not right, it feels like literally like a death. I have to be right here, and it fucks up our relationships. And if it's a relationship you don't really care about, well then great. Who cares really?
So I'm also curious then too, as with practicing chiropractic medicine, if you look at a patient and somebody, let's say they're wound up, they're bound up, they're tight or whatever, and then you go and you're cracking them and you're spinning them and you're stretching them out and you're doing all this stuff, do they naturally evolve or change as a person after treatment? Do you see personal development come through chiropractic treatment? Does that help them dissolve? Is that like a byproduct, if you will? You know what I mean? Aside from the relief of structural musculoskeletal pain, does it also shape the person? It's very interesting when you think about the triad of change and stuff that's happening. Is that something that you've witnessed?
It's a great question. It's like, what's the intention? Is the intention being realized? So the way I would answer that is two things. Well, first of all, I don't, in this moment, necessarily want this talk to be about chiropractic, because I'm more interested in the nonviolent communication aspect, because to me that's the biggest umbrella of health and wellness, which chiropractic falls under, which life falls under. So the way I would say that is two things. Life, my whole thing is like, life is your teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
You eat something and your body's like, hell no, I have a stomach ache, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you eat, like for me, it's juicing. Like when I have some celery juice, which I used to think celery was so disgusting, and now you're going to juice it, that's going to be 100 times more disgusting. And it wasn't. It was like celery juice and a little bit of carrot and some other greens. And when I drink it, it's like my body's clapping. It's like, oh my God, it's exactly what we want. Yay. Right? And when I eat like whatever, like my body's like, what are you trying to kill us here? Right? So like everything you do in life is helping you to define your values and to bring you more alive, or to kind of shut you down more, right? Mm-hmm. So to answer your question about chiropractic, it's like, I've seen the gamut. Like I did more of the structural. I did more of that in clinic at school, because that was we had to be proficient in 8 techniques. Mm-hmm. I think it was 8, something like that. And so what I didn't know about chiropractic is there's like hundreds of chiropractic techniques. So they're not all just cracking you, right? But some people love it. That's all they love it. They're like, crack me, crack me, crack. It becomes their crack, right? It's like they love it, they love it. But I've seen many things with that. I've seen people at some point, and I'm one of them. I used to get structurally adjusted. Most of my childhood, my parents are big chiropractic advocates. And then at some point, as I was becoming a young adult, I'm in my 40s now, as I was becoming a young adult, I was like, I don't really, it's like it's almost like when you love a food, you eat it every day, and you love it, and then you're like, I never want to see, hummus again. Like you've eaten it too much. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, I just was kind of like, I liked it, and I just wanted something different. I was like, I hesitate to use the word evolve, but like, I kind of had that in my body. I knew what it was. It helped. It felt good. And then I just kind of was like, that's not really speaking to me anymore. And then somebody said, oh, well, that's not what my chiropractor does. And I was like, what does your chiropractor do? And she was like, I don't know. She does something really gentle, and I feel like I'm tripping, and I leave, and the colors are brighter, and life's great again, and my pain goes away. And so I went to see her, and it was so gentle, I was like making fun of her the first appointment. I'm like, you want me to pay for this? And then things start. And my big joke about that technique is I went from, you want me to pay for this, to going to chiropractic school. Because it's so changed everything. So that's the way I would answer that. Like some people, I don't know, I'm not the guy who does the cracking stuff, but like it might just work for them. They might want it. They might just. My dad, he loves it. He wants it he wants it like twice a month. He's like, I go to see a chiropractor. He structurally adjusts me. I feel great. But my dad's not really, he doesn't really want to explore other things. He's pretty, in the past I might have said he doesn't want to grow or something like that. But then I realized that's my hubris. It's like, who am I to say he's not growing? It's like, he's happy with it. I want something different. And that's kind of how I would transition to nonviolent communication. It's like nonviolent communication would say, you were educated to judge people. And is that getting you what you want?
Yeah.
Is it getting you what you want? So the real quick way to say it would be, like nonviolent communication says your feelings point to your needs. He lists feelings in two groups. There's the feelings you have when your needs are not being met, and the feelings you have when your needs are being met. Right? Not good feelings, bad feelings, or even positive feelings. Like for me, when I hear, oh, that's a negative feeling, it's like I don't think there's any such thing as a negative feeling. Right? So the way to go real quick into the conversation would be, I'm freaked out by what somebody's doing. Right? Let's say Trump. Let's say I'm at a Trump rally, and I'm not talking personally. Like I'm just saying some of the things I've heard. Like I'm at a Trump rally, and I'm so freaked out by what somebody's saying or their sign or whatever. If you can slow it down enough, you might realize what you're wanting is to be included. Or peace. I want peace, and when I look at that sign, I want to rip your fucking head off. Is that peaceful?
No.
You want peace. So your strategy to get it, you think, is to get mad and tell them that they're not making you peaceful. So it's like, oh, okay. If I want peace, there's only three ways I'm going to get peace. My thoughts, my words, and my actions. If I want peace, it's only me who's going to bring it. If I wait for other people to bring me peace, good luck. I'm just going to find more evidence why I can't be peaceful. I can't be peaceful because he wrote that sign. Right?
Yeah.
I can't think life is great until all the evidence lines up. It's like, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
So you could look at the same tree and be like, see, that tree look at that ugly tree. Life sucks. Or you could look at the same tree and be like, wow, life is beautiful. That tree is trying to grow back, or, whatever. So there's a few different things I'm trying to say here. It's like with the triad, there's like, what I love about nonviolent communication is it's a perception, which is everybody is just trying to get their needs met.
Okay.
Practicing that consciousness, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. But for me, I've never had literally a second by second by second by moment practice of, oh, wow, that person's just trying to get their needs met. Or, oh, wow, I'm just trying to get my needs met. I might not like the way they're trying to get their needs met, but if I can see behind that and be like, they're trying. Marshall Rosenberg says the only thing anyone's ever saying is please and thank you. Please see that what I'm doing is he says, what's alive for you? So you might think, what's alive for that person that they're going to hold up a sign that says, gay marriage is evil. What's alive for them? What's true for them? Not that I have to agree with them. So that's when the practice of nonviolent communication really starts like kicking in for me, because it's not about agreeing with anybody. It's about understanding that every single person on earth has the same exact human need.
Which is?
You could Google
need. Just any need.
Google any need. You could Google nonviolent NVC needs list. Right, because some people might be like, well, all you need is food, shelter, and water, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
It's like, okay, try going a year without touch. That's not necessarily survival, Another way, sometimes needs can be a trigger word for people, like, oh, you're so needy, or need. I think needs is like not also nonviolent communication. What do people say when they hear nonviolent? What do you imagine people say? Some people when they hear nonviolent communication.
I would imagine it'd be like, oh my God, like how exhausting is that? Like, you think of like peaceful protesting, you think of I don't know, candles, white robes, so many just images come to mind, visuals come to mind, with nonviolent communication, like a scroll of rules, and bylaws,
Exactly.
You naturally assume, oh my, exhausting, like we'll never get through this, we'll never survive it, and it actually it almost incites some sort of violence, right? Because you're like, not violent, are you kidding me? Like, how am I going to fight my way through this argument?
Wait, say that again?
Because I would think when you hear nonviolent communication, naturally you think, oh my God, nonviolent. How am I going to fight my way through this communication, through this argument, right? How am I going to fight from my perspective, my point of view?
Yeah.
Being nonviolent.
There you go. Because some people say what you focus on, So some people, when they teach NVC, because it's a trademarked thing and whatever, but some people will change it to compassionate communication because, and I don't know. Supposedly Marshall, when he was naming it, he had a very specific reason for naming it nonviolent communication. But I think the name turns a lot of people off, and often I'll hear, I'm not violent. But so the violence he would say is, because I wanted to get back. I'll try to do these two thoughts as kind of like adjuncts. One is a minute ago when we were talking about you had what did you say? It was such a perfect lead. When I was talking about human needs, it's like people, I was saying a minute ago, needs is a triggering thing for people, right? So another way to say needs really is the experience I'm hoping to have, right? I don't go to a yoga class wanting to be stressed out and hurt my knee, right? I'm not like, God, I hope I limp out of that yoga class, right? Usually you go to a yoga class wanting to connect or to feel stronger, to feel more calm or in your body or more aware, whatever it is. So it's like that's what we mean by needs in the nonviolent communication, people who practice it and teach it. It's like this is the experience I'm hoping to have with my girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, mother, father, coworker, whatever it is. I'm so freaked out right now because the experience I'm so wanting is not happening. That's what my need is. Or my value. Value is another way to say it. Living your values. So it's like, okay. In a way, nonviolent communication for me is the ultimate mindfuck. But in a good way. It's like, oh shit. I've been practicing nonviolent communication just in my life for, I don't know, 12, 15 years or something like that. And the thing that really is what I would say is the kind of aha for me about it is usually is two things. Number one, nonviolent communication, practicing nonviolent communication or compassionate communication has given me a moment-by-moment practice of self-empathy. I've never had self-empathy. What the fuck is that? Self-empathy? How do you put those two words together? I never understood what that was.
Yeah, what is that?
So I know we're all over the place, and maybe.
No, it's wonderful. It's great.
Okay, good. So, I am going to stick with these 2 points. Self-empathy is the one thing it's given me, and I'll go into that for a second. And it's the mindfuck of NVC, the good mindfuck of NVC is what I'm complaining about that other people are doing, I'm not doing it either. I think it's 98% of the time. If I'm mad at you if I'm blaming you for something and I take one step back and be like, am I being that? The answer is almost always no, I'm not being that either. Like, why aren't you fucking being peaceful? What the fuck's your problem? And it's like, whoa, I'm not being peaceful. Why aren't you fucking including me? Right? I don't, the whole cliche of labels, but I date men, right? So it's like, I'm not so freaked out about the marriage thing per se, but I like having the conversations around it. But if I'm like, why the fuck aren't you including me? It's like, wait a minute. Can I include them? Like, I can get it. I can be like, wow, I tell you, 2 dudes together, you're like, that is fucking gross. I totally get it. But that's when I don't take it personally. I'm just like, oh, okay. Shit grosses me out too. I can relate to that. It's okay. But that's taken me years to get there.
Yeah.
Just so I can be like, oh, okay. I got it. Something. So the bedrock of nonviolent communication, has Marshall Rosenberg wanted it taught, empathy before education. And sometimes I think, like, he made cartoons, how to turn your friends off from NVC. Right? Try to coach everybody all the time. That's not a need. That's not a feeling. People are like, oh, fuck you. So it's like NVC is the understanding of get what's alive for that person. Empathize with that person. Because if you empathize with that person, they're going to get the sense that he calls empathy, Marshall defines empathy as quality of attention. I'm not even trying to intellectually understand what's going on. I'm just trying to get what's up with them. Right? So if they're like pissed off at my best friend, let's say my best friend is their boss, and I'm not getting hooked by what they're saying. If I can actually be in a place of like I can hear it, because if I can't hear them be like, yeah, your best friend's an asshole, then it's like, just be honest. I'm not the person to talk to. But if I can empathize with them, I can hear them say, I don't like him. I don't have the experience that when he speaks, I just have I just feel like he's degrading me. He's just talking down to me. That's not my experience at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But I can get that it's their experience, and that's all that matters with empathy. That's literally all that matters. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to get them to like gay people. It's just like, oh, I get it.
What are some ways that people could introduce nonviolent communication into their lives? I mean, I'm already just ecstatic about going and Googling NVC needs list so I can better understand. But what are some ways aside from connecting and learning from you?
Yeah, it's a great question. So get a needs list. I could send you one of my favorites. There's 2 or 3 that something about the font or the way it's laid out I really like. And some needs lists are shorter than others. Some really go more into depth. Like it's like under empathy, there's like 5 or 6 ways to say that. Inclusion, curiosity, whatever. Some it's just kind of the bare bones needs. I like the ones that are a little bit more. It's like, a little bit more. They expand on needs more. So what I would say is get one of those lists. and either download it. I think there's NVC apps happening also. But I just have a picture in my phone of a needs list. And if I'm freaked out, I literally just grab my phone and I look at the needs, and it's like, what do I need right now? It's like, in fact, let me open up my list right now. So I'm going to my photos, and this will tell you how technologically challenged I am. I take a screenshot of it, and then, invariably I'll take 100 pictures after that, so I have to keep going back, finding it, and then taking another screenshot. That's where I'm at with the needs. So in this moment, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 categories of needs. So I'll just pick one of the categories. Well-being. So what this list has under well-being is healing, peace of mind, balance, ease, trust.
I thought you'd pick a fun need like sex or something, but okay, well-being.
Let's look for sex. Actually. Sexual expressions, big need, sexual expression. And let's not confuse sexual expression with intimacy. Oh, we were intimate, I'll hear people say. Oh, you mean you had sex? Because sometimes the people I have sex with, it's the least intimate thing.
Oh, that is great. You know what? So to me, it honestly sounds like NVC is like, it really starts with self-awareness. Is that a fair assessment? Or is it beyond self-awareness? And it's like structured characterization, if you will. I don't even know if that even makes sense. Oh my God. But to me, I really feel like, oh my God, like a sense of self-awareness. And I kind of feel all these things opening up. When you talk about needs lists, now I want to, do more inflection, and I want to look at, okay, well, this and that. So, it's extremely profound and very exciting, because now I just want to like go out to the world and like just see everyone else's needs. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait. So I don't know.
Awesome.
What do you think? Is it self-awareness?
I think you're going to be the next president. I hope you're the next president.
It's
in this 20-minute conversation, I would vote for you. Not that I think voting works. But I don't think voting meets my need for structure. Let's put it that way.
It's extremely profound.
Efficiency.
It really is.
So what I would say about that is, I agree. It's like like Marshall would say, take empathetic guesses for people. Right? You might not know what their need is, but you can guess. So he would say, if you're freaked out, draw 2 T's on a piece of paper, 2 capital T's. Because he says, the other thing he says, the only thing that's ever happening for any person in any moment is they're having a feeling and a need. Feeling and a need, feeling and a need, feeling and a need. Fuck you, I fucking hate you. Okay, fuck you, I fucking hate you. So he uses a giraffe as the NBC mascot because he says a giraffe has the tallest view and it has the largest heart of any land mammal. And then all these NBC freaks, like, they keep on finding giraffe facts, like a giraffe barely makes any noises, like all these cool things about, like, giraffes. Like a giraffe is just, he says NBC is about wearing giraffe ears.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the Google translator. So he says, with giraffe ears out, you don't hear fuck you, I hate you. You hear, wow, fuck you, I hate you. What are they feeling? They're feeling angry. What are they needing? They're needing self-expression and to be heard, and maybe they're wanting a sense of fairness or dignity or something. Like, I'm guessing, because he says, that's not what Is that
but,
me?
and now, and NVC is not. Is it typically one way? It should be two-way, right? But I feel like this is.
So Marshall would say the most violent word in the English language is should.
Oh, I know. I should.
So
Did I just shit all over myself? Darn it!
You should all over yourself.
I should all over myself. Shame on me.
So when you say when you say it should be a two-way street, that's a pitfall of NVC. Because one of my NVC coaches says, look, there's really no such thing as NVC, nonviolent communication. If what you're doing and saying and thinking is getting you the quality of life you want, then you don't need nonviolent. Then what you're doing is working. Mm-hmm. Nonviolent communication is to just give you some tools so that your life becomes more wonderful and the quality of your life is you have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
So it's not about other people. It's not about other, because they're going to say, what should means is you should want gay people to get married, and they're going to go, never, never will I do that. So in a second, I'd like to go through a basic NVC exercise with you, so I could show you what I mean by that. But trying to tie two concepts up here. Self-empathy, you asked a few minutes ago. Self-empathy is looking at that needs list and going, what do I need? Right? So there's a lot of great videos on YouTube about Marshall Rosenberg teaching NVC, and he uses like puppets, or like he'll put on ears, and it's like he says you're either wearing giraffe ears or you're wearing jackal ears. And he chooses jackal in opposition of the giraffe because a jackal is like they're low to the ground, they're menacing, they blame, they diagnose, they analyze, right? They look for fault. But a giraffe never looks for fault. A giraffe knows. He says a jackal is a giraffe with a language problem. Mm-hmm. Only a jackal would say, fuck you, I hate you. A giraffe would say, I'm really angry. I'm really struggling with understanding why it is you did that. That's what a giraffe would say. You can be angry in NVC. You can be furious. It's not that you can be. You either are or you aren't. I'm furious right now. That's life-serving. Marshall would say NVC is a life-serving practice. If you're blaming, analyzing other people for your experience, he calls that a life-denying practice. You're denying life. Mm-hmm. So a life-serving thing to say would be, I am so fucking pissed off right now. My head is spinning. And the reason it's life-serving is because it's true. A life-denying way to say that would be, and it's your fault I feel this way.
Oh, shit.
So he would say, people don't cause your feelings. They can contribute to them, right? If somebody says, you're a fucking disgusting faggot, actually these days I might laugh, but I might be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that, right? Because what's up for me is that my respect needs are not being met. I'm hoping for respect, and I'm not having the sense of respect. So it's like okay, that's not even what you're saying, but that's what you're saying. There's so much under you're a disgusting faggot. There's an entire history, a life history under that. And if I can get under, and if I can be curious about that person, it's logical that he's saying, you fucking disgusting faggot. It's absolutely logical. Mm-hmm. If you were him, you'd say that too. That's empathy. And self-empathy is turning that inward. Because often, if something happens that we don't like, we turn the jackal ears in on ourselves. So the jackal ears either go out, you're an asshole, or they either go in, I'm a fuck up. Mm-hmm. But your giraffe ears in is self-empathy. no, you're not a fuck up. You did the best you could. You didn't know how to. I beat myself up a little bit for pushing our time back twice, like 15 minutes, and it's like, structures. I'm like, and I can jackal myself, and it's like, no, it was, think of it in a way that's like, it is important to me to be on time, but anyway, there's just when you ask how do you do it, I would carry around a needs list, literally physically carry it around for a month, a year.
Very
so if you do the two T's, one T is yours, the other T is the other person's. On the left side, like the column, the left side of the T are their feelings. On the right side of the same T is their needs. And then you do the same T for you. What's my feeling? What's my need? So boom, you don't dehumanize anyone. Let me do the T real quick for the. You don't in NVC. There's no such thing as a homophobe.
Mm-hmm.
No such thing. There's also no such thing as low vibration and high vibration.
Oh.
Even though I can totally get under, I can sense what you mean by that.
Uh-huh.
What you mean is wellness. When you say high vibration, you're saying this meets my need for wellness. When you say low vibration, you're saying this doesn't meet my need for wellness.
Well, I mean, isn't that, it's actually really funny that you say that, because isn't that all anything is in the universe is just words? And I've always, ever since I was a zygote, I've always said to whoever would listen to me that the universe is quite literal. And in order for you to understand the functioning of the universe, all you have to know is, well, mathematics, but also the use of the English language.
You're talking to the wrong guy. Math, no, but I'm curious about English, what you're going to say.
Well, I mean, because that's all it is. It's communication. It's just words. Words. I have found power in words, and I have found power in truth. And so, but ever since I was like a little, I've always known that I've always had this great feeling that there is power in words, and the sooner that I master the English language, the faster I master, I guess, not the universe, but whatever this game called life is, in which we use words as tools in order to manifest a reality in which we live.
Absolutely. That's all we're ever doing. So I've heard them say 10,000 hours master. If you played piano for 10,000 hours, you're a master.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And to me, I used to play a lot of piano, and now it's like there's this DVD, Piano for Quitters, and he says, don't stop blaming yourself for not reading anymore. Just make sounds that feel good. And imagine if you didn't care if it was a C chord or a D chord. Imagine if you just literally, and I started doing it. It was like, holy shit! Like, I'm just literally, that doesn't sound good. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, those two sound, and I don't know what chord it is or whatever, but it just sounds good. Imagine if you did that for 10,000 hours, the shit you would come up with.
Yeah.
So as far as the English language goes, guess what we've mastered? Guess what all of us have mastered? Guess what all of us not only have 10,000 hours in, we have about, math's not my strong suit, but, we have in the 6 digits of hours.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that is?
Judgment.
And we're using language we're using language to master judgment. We've all have our PhDs in jackal.
Yeah.
So when I hear you say you want to master the English language, for me it's like, how can I think in a way that has my own back and that has other people's backs? Donnie Epstein would say, let your hallucinations work for you and for other people. You're hallucinating all of it.
Very true. Quite profound.
So he would say, Yeah, so he would say if your story or your thoughts don't empower you, that's how you know they're not true. If somebody doesn't speak to you with compassion, you have nothing to learn from them. You can practice with them, right? That's how I interpret that. It's like I might have something to learn from them, but it's not like, but it's because of my practice. My practice is making me learn something from them.
Yeah.
It's like, you're really teaching me compassion because I want to be in the field of compassion.
Yes.
So a few minutes ago when you said, shouldn't it be a two-way street, my quick answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's your practice. That's like saying, shouldn't everybody do yoga? No, people can practice, Carl Jr.'s. That's what they're practicing. It's a practice for them.
Yeah.
They don't have to do yoga. They don't have to do nonviolent communication. They don't have to see a chiropractor. They can do anything they want.
I can't believe you brought up my should again. I feel like I've already been shaming myself for the last 10 minutes, and now you just brought it up again.
So, okay, what's another way? So how about this? How about I will giraffe your should?
How do you giraffe a should?
Try to get underneath what was underneath, what was life-serving about you saying that. So when I hear you say, shouldn't it be a two-way street, what my empathetic guess, quote unquote, my guess is you're really wanting partnership. You're really wanting to practice this kind of like thing that could serve like you're imagining is if more people were doing this and like people were doing it together, it would bring about more understanding and compassion, and there would be more energy-rich structures in the world, and the world would just work more.
Very true.
And a quick way to say that would be they should do it. But the only problem with that is it probably won't elicit inspiration from another person. It'll probably elicit a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like some of my clients. It's like when I tell them they should stop smoking, it doesn't go so well.
Mm-hmm.
I go the whole opposite way. I almost celebrate smoking now. There was this one guy who really he was really funny about it. We were making fun of it. He's like, no, I want you to tell me I should stop smoking. So then I kept playing that up. I'm like, if I ever see you smoking, I'll cut your fucking hand off. And it was like, but it was understood that we were kidding. But with some people, I'm just like, tell me what you enjoy about smoking. What's life-serving about smoking to you? Like, what, you must enjoy it on some level. And then they tell me, they're like, yeah, it just kind of calms me down. And then it's like, now you're in the energy of the need. You're not in the energy of judging them for the strategy to meet the need.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can relate to you. Oh, yeah, I do things that make me feel calmer. I don't do that, but I do other things. So I can relate to why you're smoking. I can relate to the impetus underneath of the choice.
Yeah.
I can relate to why you don't want same-sex people to get married. I can relate to that. It's not the choice I would make. I want people to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I can relate to what's underneath of that. I have my different version of that. And then, so Marshall Rosenberg's biggest teaching, like from the grave, he says, hold no enemy images. Right? Other people can become your enemy in 1 second, and it's in your head. The only place an enemy can live is in your brain, in your thinking mind. So you can turn other people into an enemy. You can turn yourself into an enemy. And that's why nonviolent communication is so important to me. It's like, oh, okay. This is a way to stop making myself and other people enemies. That's all. And it gives me a structure.
Yeah.
So why don't we end with one quick nonviolent communication exercise?
Okay.
So observation, the nonviolent communication practice is 4 things: observation, feeling, need, request. Would you do me a favor and write that down?
Got it.
Okay, so if you write it in a column, right, like observation, and then underneath of that, feeling.
Yeah.
So the non-NVC, or the way I would say is the life-denying thing would be observation versus evaluation.
Okay.
Feeling versus thinking.
All right.
Needs versus strategies. Requests versus demands.
And so it's down to what's life-serving and what's not life-serving, right?
Yep. So I'm picturing the column on the left as observations, feelings, needs, requests, and on the right, evaluations, thinking, strategies, demands.
Yes.
The right side is life-denying, the left side is life-serving. With the left side, it takes out all story, all analysis. J. Krishnamurti was quoted as saying, the highest form of intelligence is to be able to distinguish between observation and evaluation.
Amazing.
Gay people are disgusting.
I love it.
That's an observation.
And that's life-serving?
It's an observation. I observed it. He said it.
Huh? Yeah.
So I'm observing something. And observation is always in the present moment.
Got it.
So let's just say some guy just said that. I heard him say it.
Mm-hmm.
Although with this whole fucking Yanni Laurel thing, who knows what the fuck he really said, right?
Yeah.
He said trees are pretty or whatever. But, so let's just say I heard somebody say that. That's an observation, right? I heard it. Every person on earth would hear it. If you could record it. If you recorded it, everybody would hear it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just keep the Yanni and Laurel thing out of it for this moment. Although I think the Yanni Laurel thing kind of blows my mind. Because it shows you that everything is a perception. But, so, I heard him say, fags are disgusting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an observation, right?
Right.
What's an What could I say? What could I evaluate out of him saying that?
That he's homophobic, that he's hateful, that he has no love in his heart,
on and on and on.
On and on and on, yeah.
But what's true?
That
he said that.
He said that. That's it.
That's it.
He said that.
That's it. We're just going with reality. He said that. I'm not even going to go into whether your evaluations could be life-serving, because they could. They could bring you to, I'm not saying judgments are bad. I'm just saying if you want to be clean about what you want, stick with the observation. This is just a practice. So the practice is observation. Okay, so what's the feeling?
Hate that I feel when something like that is said towards me. Hate or judgment.
So, and we could do a whole other thing, which we won't do now, but the difference between, okay, so let me ask you. Is hate a feeling? Because what's on the opposite side of feeling?
Okay, so feeling. So hold on. I would say sadness. Then it would be.
No. On the left. Yes, sadness. Exactly. So what's the opposite of feeling on that list?
Thinking.
Right. So is hate more of a feeling or more of a thought?
It's a thought, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because I would feel sad if someone said that to me, but I would think that they're thinking hateful thoughts.
There you go. So we're back. Right. So 1 and 2 are kind of the same thing, right? Evaluation. And the reason he makes the distinction between feeling and thinking is because he says people will use the word feel and then follow it with a thought. Follow it with an analysis of behavior. I feel like you're not listening to me. That's not a feeling.
Yeah.
You're frustrated because you saw me turn my head and you imagine I'm not listening to you. That's different.
Yeah.
So so somebody says fags are disgusting. You feel sad, maybe angry, maybe afraid.
Yeah. You feel all sorts of things. Fags are disgusting.
Yeah.
It depends also, too, where are you at? Are you on the street? Are you in the mall? At church?
In bed.
Location brings things. In bed. Yeah. There's so many, so then,
That's my little
what
rope
about
in the straight guy joke.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so now here's the thing. When he said fags are disgusting, did he make you feel sad?
No, I would have to take responsibility for that because it was directed towards me, and I'm like shock, right? And that would be my own, wouldn't it? That would be my own.
Here's how the way you filtered it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how you know he didn't make you feel sad. If he could make you feel sad, he could make every person feel sad. And not everybody's going to feel sad when they hear that. So that's how. So NVC is about taking 100% responsibility for your feelings and 100% responsibility for your needs.
Got it.
So when I heard you say fags are disgusting, I felt sad. You didn't like I said earlier, you contributed to it, right? You did contribute to it. You did punch me in the face. But you didn't make me feel sad. Okay,
yeah.
next line.
Need.
What's the need that him saying did not fulfill?
To be heard. Right?
Okay. Well, he said it.
To be heard.
No. Well, yeah, sure. What? And that's a good point because sometimes we see needs as arrows, and see that's an advanced. I would call that an advanced question or an advanced. It's kind of like not advanced, but it's like it's a tenet of NVC. Like we think like you're not hearing me. It's like again, it's like peace. If your need is to be heard, then hear him. And then here's the mind fuck. When you hear somebody else, your need to be heard is met.
Mhm. Okay, well, I got to write that down. That just fucked my brain up.
or it's not. When you hear him, you still might want to be heard. You still might have the experience of not being heard. But that's where the last thing comes in. Request.
Mhm.
So
how is fags are disgusting a request?
No. Is there a request from? Do you have a request of this person or of anybody else?
Oh, I see.
That's the MVC. That's a quick MVC process.
Got it.
What am I observing? What am I feeling? What am I needing? Is there a request?
Got it. Is there?
And then if you want to do it for them, it's like, what are they observing? Oh, I was wearing a rainbow flag. That's what they were observing. What were they feeling? Disgust. What were they needing? To be heard.
Yeah. Amazing. Simply amazing and incredible. And I can't believe that we covered all that, and we've went well over our time. But I have to say, this is really, really incredible, and I can't wait to look more into it, and then also to get the needs list from you and post it and post this conversation, because I think it's truly profound. And I feel like I could learn so much from it. And rather than worry about whether the rest of the world will hear it or learn from it, I feel like it can all start with me first.
Exactly. And then at some point you make requests. Hey, would you go to an MVC class with me? Or would you be interested in hearing about, one of my MVC coaches says, she goes, can you make a request? Is it alluring? Is it an invitation? Because if it's not, it's on the other column. It's a demand.
Mm-hmm.
You better fucking like gay people. Well, I don't. And then what does that even mean, like gay people? Like, we're just not clear with how. So if you want to master the English language, you start realizing that what you're saying isn't clear to other people, and it might not even be clear to you. It's like, what am I really saying?
Mm-hmm. No, that happens to me all the time.
Right. So what I'm saying, you and every other human. So what I'm saying is, I heard you say this or do this, or I saw your right eyebrow lift, and I felt scared.
Mm-hmm.
I had this whole thought that you don't like me, or whatever. And every moment, that's what self-empathy is. What did I observe? What did I feel? What did I need? Right? And requests are also internal. Can I request something of myself? And if it involves another person, there might not be a request, at least not now. Right? In taking this example of, let's say, somebody who you might call homophobe at a rally, I might not have a request of that person. I mean, I might, but it might just be like, wow, look at that. So for me, NVC is this really amazing rabbit hole that is kind of also in line with Abraham Hicks. Do you know Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, she's just like, all right, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on that he doesn't like gay people, or are you focusing on, you know what, he's probably gay? I mean, that's what I think now.
Yeah.
I mean, at best, he's gay. At worst, it's just he's just out of sorts. He's just enraged, or he's just, I could give you a million examples, but for me, it's just NBC, it's like a victory for me to be like, I don't know. I don't know what's up for them. Maybe they're peaceful in their views. Maybe they're like, it's just what I think,
Well, this entire interview has been nothing but the focus of homosexuals. And as a God-fearing Christian woman, I can't imagine what my parents are going to think when they hear this interview.
Wait, who's a God-fearing Christian woman?
I'm just joking. That was my brutal attempt to be a comedian. I think my need to be a fun, hilarious comedian. Yeah. Anyway, well, with that said, I have to thank you. This, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Garrett Hewstan with us today, talking about nonviolent communication, aka NVC, the triad of change. And I'm definitely going to have to listen to this interview over again, because this is absolutely just mind-blowing and incredibly fun. And we definitely have to have you on for a second session to talk more about homosexuals and NVC. I mean, this has been a really fun interview, so thank you.
And how they are a perfect combination.
Absolute. I mean, my God, a dynamic duo if ever there was one.
You know what? Could I end just by reading the list under the word love?
I would love that. That's amazing.
Okay, so this is just another way you could talk about what you're hoping to experience, aka needs. love, affection, appreciation, closeness, companionship, connection, harmony, intimacy, joy, kindness, nurturing, respect/self-respect, sexual expression, support, tenderness, touch, warmth.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I like the touch one personally myself. I mean, I think that's my favorite. Anyway,
and how we can get all of those needs confused. Like somebody might want to touch you, but they might not want to have sex with you, like cuddling or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess you got to be very specific, don't you?
Yeah. Well, and maybe we'll do a podcast just about requests, because requests can be tricky for people. Marshall says they need to be specific and doable. I request that you support me. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Here's an apple. Like people are you're very specific in what you want, and if you're not specific with other people, they don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
then
I just want to. Can I just acknowledge you?
Of course, yes. I have been. For the last hour, I've been waiting amongst the homosexuals.
So my need for acknowledgement is up.
Yeah. The desperation, the acknowledgement. I need it now. I feel like a desert vying for a gallon of water. Water. Where is the water?
Where is the water? It's a mirage. It's real. I'm to talk about nonviolent communication and what is essentially my life's work. Although I'm also a musician and I'm looking for a band to finish my album, but we can talk about that later. I just have a lot of appreciation for you. I am technologically challenged, so when anybody can get this kind of thing in, like, it's amazing to me that like people have podcasts. I'm like, what's a podcast again? So like, I'm just so impressed that you made this actually happen. Like now it's actually, it's a thing in the world rather than me just talking about NVC all the time. And because so many people record this shit, and I'm like, yeah, that and $2 will get me a cup of coffee. I don't know how, that's not my forte, right, at least in this moment. So thank you so much for being somebody who got this actualized.
I appreciate that. And I have to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom, not only with me, but with everyone that's listening. It's incredible. And yes, we have to have you back on for more. And because I believe this is stuff that I definitely want to hear, and I feel like if I want to hear it, that there's definitely other people out there that would love to hear it as well. So it's really, really exciting, and I can't wait to break more bread with you and share more words.
Good, and just remember, whatever need is underneath having me back on, you can also get that need met in 100 or 1,000 other ways.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So if you never have me on again, you can still have all those same needs for, inspiration and growth and, whatever the need is, you can get all those needs met.
All right. Well, dude, you heard it here first. All right. Well, that's it. We're wrapping it up, and this is Mike Diaz with Dr. Garrett Hewstan. Thank you again for your time. And until next time, go out there and get your needs met.
Absolutely.